So I call myself startupper because I enjoy the concept of starting stuff from scratch and building unicorns. I mean, from scratch. So it's something amazing to me, and I've always found myself within the ecosystem building a startup career. So basically, right now I'm running a startup that is working on a work-based skilling platform for African students, and we soon be investing in startups across world's emerging market. That is, I'll soon become an investor. And I also do tech, and basically I'm specialized in product and growth. When we move forward, you get to know what growth means, and maybe I can also brief you about what product means. 3 years now, I've been working with products and growth teams at prominent tech startups in Africa. And I mentioned Printivo, a leading print platform in Africa, and then Send, that startup that helps you manage all your entire process of shipping across the world. So at Printivo, I worked with the marketing team briefly before I got to lead products in the company. So at Send, I contract as the growth manager. So so I would like us to get started. So that is me. Unfortunately, I would like to get to know everybody, but I would just like to work with our time. Maybe you can, when you are asking your question, you can help me by introducing yourself and maybe a bit of your background, and so we can connect. So every great business starts with why, what, and how. So the why is the purpose, the what is the goal, the how is the objectives. And essentially everything else, including marketing, picks up from here. So when you're starting a business, the most fundamental questions you want to ask yourself is, why am I doing this? Why is my business existing? Because from there, everything picks up. What are my goals? What am I trying to achieve? Then are my objectives? How am I going to achieve those goals? So everything else, including marketing. You want to do sales, you want to hire people, you want to, everything you want to do must evolve around the answers to these three questions. All right. Yeah. So to make a long story short, I mean, a lot of things, especially growth marketing, has been a buzzword in the industry for a while, and a lot of people wonder what exactly it is. So I used to put it this way, that marketing moves several different components to keep enough demand for your offering. So what that means is that, remember I said a business starts with why, it starts with what and the objectives. Marketing is not a standalone, it's not standing alone in any business. It's integrated together with everything you do, and everything that can be moved to keep enough demands for whatsoever you are offering, whether service or your product, is what marketing is. Now, growth marketing is that marketing with growth in mind. So what that means is that it's not different. It's still based on some of the principles of marketing. It's still marketing. However, this time around, it's not just that traditional marketing where we just do a lot of activities and then nothing is being measured. We're not putting growth in mind. So marketing is first a mindset. It's not a separate kind of profession outside marketing. It's a marketer that a growth marketer is a marketer with growth in mind. So you get to know what this means as we move on. So I forgot to say something earlier. So as we move on, you can jot down your questions. And at some point, I may ask you if you have questions, and I mean you can chip in. But then I'm going to run this through in few minutes. Then we can interact, ask questions, and all that. So before casting your net, know the fish and the ocean they live in. So, okay. So before you do anything, before you start saying, I want to, before you even start thinking of marketing or growth marketing, the first thing you want to do is to get to know who are you targeting, who are you trying to sell to, who is your customer, and then where do they live? That is the market. So I mean, for my own illustration, I make fish that's customer target. I mean, that's your target, and I make the ocean they live the market. So we want to, I mean, dive into what a user research is and what market sizing means. Now, why do we do this? Why does this concern a growth marketer? It is because as a growth marketer, you don't just want to be running through different, I mean, just running activities. You want to understand the fundamentals of what you're doing. You want to understand everything you want to do. In fact, as a matter of fact, user research or understanding user is not what is not whole is not just what concerns those in marketing or products alone. User research is what concerns everybody in business, including the CEO, including the HR, and including every part of the business. Why? Because you want to hire people. For example, you want to hire people um, that can help you serve your users. You want to you want to you want to build a brand that can that can help you push that right perception outside there. You want to everything you want to do. Um, yeah, even including investors. So you want to get investors that can help you reach your target audience, that can help you, that can give you resources to. I mean, everything you want to do evolves around understanding your users. So it is very important. And then, as a growth person, this is at the core of everything you do. You swim in it. So you need to be able to recite everything about your users even while sleeping. So because these are the people you target and these are people you work, you're trying to sell to, um, trying to sell to, and then you need to also understand where they live, how what they do, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what we want to do. So yeah, I call this the ABCs of user research. So it is how you expose the problem, those who have it, and their reactions to it. At the core of every business is a fundamental problem that you found as you want to solve. So I mean, a business starts with a problem. So you have a problem, you want to solve it. So and everything builds up from there. I mean, but user research helps you to unveil that problem even more. You want to get more insights about the problem you're trying to solve. You want to understand those who have it, and then their reactions to um, um, that particular problem. This is essential for you as a growth person because uh, I mean, it's still at the core. You want to breathe within the problem you're solving. You need to swim in it. You need to really know what you're doing. You need to know the kind of problem you're solving, the kind of people you're solving it for. And there are three basic components um, that are more like methodologies that you can use to do this. So you can look at user research as different ways by which you're trying to expose the problem. You're trying to know your users. You're trying to know their behaviors, how they react to those problems, and all that. So the first thing I would like to talk about is the personals. Of course, unfortunately, we will not be able to dive, I mean, into this very well. But of course, I mean, these are things you can, these are fundamentals that you can definitely always build upon. There's something I understand when it comes to learning most of these things. You want to really, really dwell so much on the fundamentals, so much that even when one thing is that there's so many concepts underlying most of what we do, marketing, growth, and all that. If I understand those concepts, if I spend a lot of time on that, understanding that concept, no matter whatsoever that is building up on it, it's easier for me to understand. So if you don't understand what personals means as a growth person, you cannot be an effective growth. In fact, you cannot even do growth. You cannot do growth. If you don't know how to talk to users, you cannot do growth. If you don't have empathy or you don't know how to create products that that really solves problem, or market in such a way that you targeting, you hitting their pain points, you won't be able to do effective growth. So personals just basically means a user profile. So if you are to look at yourself now, I mean, you look at okay, this is how old am I? Where do I live? What do I do almost every day? What are my daily routines looks like? Where do I work? What kind of aspirations do I have? And all that. So as a growth person, one of the very first things you want to do before setting out is to do a proper profiling of the user, that person you're trying to target. It helps you build, strategy. It helps you know how to reach them. If you don't know them, you can't reach them. So it is very, very important that you know this. And it's basically trying to those basic facts about your users. The practicality around this is that, if, for example, let's say you've been hired as a growth person into a company. Let's say we're starting from scratch. So one thing you want to do is to do an extensive deck study, trying to understand, trying to profile your user. You can talk to a few number of some of the people that you perceived as your customers, and then just do a basic profiling. Then the most crucial part of user research is talking to users real life. I mean, personals are in a way fictional. A lot of what is there is just you trying to um, assume that, okay, this is possible. This is what my user looks like. So I mean, this is the kind of problems they may probably be facing. So it's more like you sitting in your room doing doing some fictional stuff. So, but then talking to real users, real life, is so crucial. And there are ways to do this. You don't just go out and say you want to go and talk to people. The first thing is that you want to be sure that, at least, if not getting 100%, like, if you don't, even if you don't have 100% understanding of who your users are, you want to target those who are close. So you don't want to start to go and be talking to the wrong people. And so you want to talk to people who are almost the right set of people, or to the people who are within that area that you're trying to solve the problem, because at the end they might not actually have the problem that you're having at hand. So you want to target people that you believe that are having that kind of problem. So you want to talk to as many as possible. As many as possible. You don't get tired talking to users. As a matter of fact, since from the beginning of your work as a growth person till even when your company is multi-billion dollars, you are still going to be talking to users. And this is the most basic stuff that you need to put in mind if you're talking to users. The first thing is that ensure that you're talking to the right people. The second thing is that you want to be asking the right questions. The third thing is that you are not preaching your solution. You're not preaching your solution. You're not coming to me and say, if I build this for you, will you use it? Maybe if I want to pity you because you've gone all the way to come and tell me, so maybe I'll just say yes. I mean, I'll just say yes, and oh, fantastic. Or if I just want to like make you feel encouraged, so I'll just like, oh, great, of course, why not? And another thing you need to put in mind is that users a lot of time uh, do not know what exactly they need. They might tell you this and that and this and that, but in actual sense, most times users do not need. In fact, as a matter of fact, it is your own job as a person in growth or someone building a company to identify the need of a customer, to identify the need of a potential customer. It is not them to tell you that this is what they need. What you're doing when you're talking to users is that you want to unveil their problem to the last call. Like you want them to talk about their problems. You want them to talk about their problems. So you are not pushing your solutions. You are not going with a solution in mind. You are going there to understand them. So you can do this even as casual as possible. I mean, you can just as basic as casual interactions, just to understand them and understand their problem. So don't forget, you want to talk to people who are at least close to the kind of people you are looking at as users. So you don't want to waste a lot of time speaking with different people. I mean, the different people that are not relevant to your case. Your case. So you also want to ask the right question. And one of the way to do that is that you are not preaching your solutions, and then you want to be you want to ask the question why as much as possible, because you want to be sure that you are not unveiling symptoms, because there's a difference between symptoms and then problems. So you want to be sure that you are not unveiling symptoms but the actual problem. So how do you identify the problem rather than the symptoms? Is by asking why. It's by using different ways to go deeper into why I'm not having a job. Why they are not recruiting me? Why? I mean, they tell me I don't have the right skill. Why? I mean, so, but then of course you don't want to be asking the why, right? So you want to use different, skills to do that. Just the basic thing is that you want to dive in and really, really understand the reason behind everything they say. So yeah, so talking to users actually can require you doing interviews. So, I mean, one-on-one interviews with people, or going to the field. For example, if, for example, you are trying to solve an agricultural related problem. So maybe your user research will require you to go to remote areas and talk to real farmers. So another part of talking to user, another method of talking to user is say focus group. So focus group is say 10 people that are most likely a target user for you, and then you just flowing with them just flow with them in interaction, just discuss with them. And then the discussion is not the discussion to brainstorm your solution. The discussion is to let them talk on their problems as much as possible. Let them get lost in talking about their problems, and then you listen. So your job when talking to users is not to talk. Your job is to listen. So that is very, very important. So the empathy mapping part. So let me show you what it looks like. So yeah, it is. It's just everything you gather from the field, from the interviews, from the focus groups, and all that. You want to put everything together, and then you want to get as much as possible insights from those things. Of course, you've interacted with them and all that. You want to come and sit down again, gather all those information that that you've received from your focus group, from your field study, from talking, from interview, one-on-one interview, and all that. You want to put them together, and you want to dive in and get as much as possible insight. So empathy mapping is one of the way you can do that, and there is a framework for doing that. The first part you can see here is think and feel. So this has to do with uh, what do you think, or what will your users be thinking and feeling about this problem. So this part is asking you the question of what would they be hearing about this problem. For example, what would their family members be telling them? What would their mates, their friends be telling them about this? What would they be saying? What do they say and what do they do? What is their pain point and what seems to be their gain? Their gain in all this. If you can answer these questions, correctly from the information you've received from your talking to users and all, so you are in the right position to start crafting the right direction to reaching your users, or to creating the right product, or to creating the right marketing strategy. I didn't talk about marketing strategy from start, but because all these actually need to be settled before you can even start thinking of marketing strategy, because your marketing strategy actually we have to be picking information from all this user research and all that. So if you feel you want to ask any question while I'm going, please just drop a chat. I'm going to see that and I'll stop and answer your question. So the next part is now you know the kind of users you're trying to target. You know them. Bear it in mind. You cannot know everything at the start. Uh, now I'm using a case of, say you are being recruited as a growth marketing person for a company that is just starting. The same process to work if you are joining a growth team, uh, a growth team of a company that has started, I mean, for a while. So you want, as a person, you want to understand the user persona. You want to understand. You want to also talk to users, or maybe gather the information from, I mean, information of field studies, interviews, and all that. Dwell on them, understand them, and look at the empathy map to really get more insight about the users you're trying to target. Then this part has to do with, I mean, this is more like the ocean where the fish live. And market sizing is knowing how big and viable it is. So look at, like I said earlier, the market looks like an ocean, while I mean, looks like an ocean hosting fish. Your fish is like your users, while your market is like, I mean, your ocean is like the market. In this case, talking about market sizing, you want to know how big your ocean is or how viable it is. So there is this calculation that, I mean, different, I mean, this three basic calculation that is being done to really identify the kind of opportunity you are trying to pursue. Do I have any question? Okay, to really understand the kind of opportunity you are trying to pursue. The first one is TAM, and it means total available market. Say you are trying to you're trying to build say you want to create Coca-Cola. Say for example, Coca-Cola, everybody in the world drinks Coca-Cola. I mean, it's almost everybody except maybe the babies. So you want to look at the number of all possible customers, the number of all possible customers you want to multiply together with their revenues or how much they earn per year. So that gives you your total addressable market. So you want to look at the total number of all possible customers that may, I mean, that are drinking Coca-Cola or drinking. So, and then you want to multiply that with their spend. You want to relate that with their spend, and then come up with a, a figure of how big the market looks like. So it's the whole market. And the best way to do that is, say, let's say there are 10 people in the world, and so 7 of them can drink. First, 7 of them can drink Coca-Cola. So, and each of them, I mean, spend say 100 naira per year. So you want to multiply that with the 7 people to get your total addressable market. So if you look at this diagram very well, you see that they are inside one another. It means that your SAM or your SAM is that part of your TAM that you can address. So the market segment you will target. So say, I mean, we just talked about the world now. So say from why you evaluate the kind of technology you'll be using or the kind of system you'll be building and all that, you feel that you cannot really target the whole world. Say you want to target just Africa. So then you do the same calculation, putting Africa in case. So, and that makes your SAM. Your SOM is your home particular share. And what that means is that why serviceable addressable market is the market that you will be targeting. Your your own share is that part of SAM that you are targeting. That's your target market. I mean, that you can target, or you can actually serve. You can serve immediately. I mean, that is available for you. So something is addressable does not mean it's available for you. So the whole market in Africa may be addressable. I mean, it's possible you address them, but looking at the possibilities around what you're doing, you see that you can only serve those in Nigeria, or you can only serve those within the age of this and this. So that's your own target market. So that's your own target market. So now you also want to think about segmentation, because even though your target market is big, you don't just want to say this is my target market and then you start throwing stuff inside and trying to throw stuff inside, because in Nigeria alone, for example, we still have different category of people. So that's your particular target market. You want to look at it closely and categorize them based on uh, characteristics and all that. The reason for this is because while creating your marketing strategy, you don't want to send the same message to different kind of people, because you'll be doing marketing wrongly. Uh, for example, I'm sure some of us, I mean, I'm sure we all know that there are some iPhones that are being sold as high as $1 million. So, I mean, but maybe, I mean, it's not around. I mean, it's not around there, because I mean we are not even we're not even target customers. I mean, but it's the same Apple that makes these same iPhones and the iPhones that we can easily afford around us here. So Apple knows the kind of people that can use this. They know how to target them. So if you don't put things into segment, put your customer into segment, you won't be able to target rightly. So the essence of segmentation is to target rightly. For example, you don't want to use a normal net to catch a whale shark, which can be as big as a school bus. So the same net that you're using to catch that small fish in the water, you don't want to use that same net to catch a shark. That is very, very important. So yeah, categorize your target market into demography. So that is who they are. For example, I was talking about persona the other time. Persona also entails the demography, but this time around, the persona you did the other time is I mean, the persona I talked about the other time is more like talking about. I mean, it's more general. This time around, you want to really put things into proper segments. Your customer segment can be as much as say 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on the kind of service you want to render. So you want to know, you don't want to send the same message you are sending to those in Nigeria. I mean, those in Kano to those in Lagos, especially if there are a lot of differences. So you really want to put things into proper segment. You want to you want to like put them in age. For example, you don't want to don't want to target the way you'll be targeting those in their 20s might be different from the way you'll be targeting those in their 70s if they both use your products. So their psychology also, how they think, how they think, how they think, their behavior, how they do things. So you really want to look at this properly. The geography, the geography also. So where they are. So, like I said, you really need to sit down here and do a proper segment, because it helps. It just simplify the whole of, your work. For example, if you want to do proper newsletter, if you want to do like if your marketing is heavy on newsletter, for example, as a channel, you don't just want to be posting and sending newsletter to all your database. Just one same newsletter every time and all that. It won't work. It won't work, especially if your market is heterogeneous. So you want to look at things properly and say what kind of messaging fits this kind of people, what kind of messaging fit this kind of people, what kind of products fit this one, and all that. So it makes your work so easy. And then as a growth person, by the time you get to start experimenting and measuring, you will see that you have to do that. You have to do those things based on segments. So I move on to So now, after you understand your users, you understand your market, you put your customers into segments. Now you can start thinking of setting out, and this is where marketing communications comes from. There's a lot of misconceptions around marketing communications, but just let's talk about this. So I mean, it's basically you sharing the value of your offering to attract your target market and turn many to buyers and advocates. So it's a communication of value, sharing that value, sharing that value. And again, for this also, there are three most basic components that you have to look at when you are thinking about marketing communications. Everything revolves around these three things. The first one is your branding. So I mean, just the same the way the name sound actually. So I mean, it's about everything that you have as a, I mean, the value you are trying to give to your user. Now you know the users, you know where they are, you know where they live. You put them into segments and all that. How do you reach out to them? How do you attract them? And because marketing is a profession that has to do with attracting, so how do you attract them? How do you turn them into buyers and even advocates? So the first thing you have to consider is your branding. Now this time around, branding is not logo. It's not just your business card and all that. Branding has to do with uniqueness. I'll talk about that. So the content is more like the the heart. I mean, the blood that runs everything. So I'm going to talk about that also. Then the channels. The channels how I mean where you distribute, how you meet. I mean how you meet your users. So that particular media or that particular medium where you meet your users or where you meet your customers. So your content is what you send to them. Your branding is how they perceive you. So let's just move on. Uh, so for the branding, like I said, it's about uniqueness, it's about positioning, it's about setting yourself as apart. So because there are so many things in the market, you don't just want to get right outside there and just throwing stuff at your users and all that. You want your user to be able to say, "Hey, this is Mr. Hey." You want them to give you to have a kind of a very nice perception about you, or to have a good feeling about what you give to them. So branding is not just about telling that designer to say, "Hey, give me that brand style guide," or "Give me that logo," or "Design this for me." Branding is first setting yourself, I mean, positioning yourself, defining that value proposition. So, and then moving up from there is the identity, which has to do with uh, things relating to your designs. Your designs. Uh, so, I mean, some of you that might have been interacting with Questraj from, I mean, maybe for a while, you will see that, I mean, looking at the colors in these slides, you will, I mean, you'll be, I mean, there's a kind of familiarity that comes with it. I mean, this is the color of where I'm getting training and all that. So that identity. That when you see GT Bank logo, or even if you see the color from afar, you most likely going to like, oh, this might be a GT Bank banner or signboard and something like that. So your identity has to do with uh, how people, I mean, what people see to recognize you. So, and inside it, we can start talking about your brand style guide, your brand identity designs, which has to do with your logo, your colors, and all that. So, this third part is your messaging. What kind of tone do you want to use? Don't forget, branding is about setting yourself apart, setting that uniqueness. So you don't just want to communicate the same way some other people are communicating because you feel that's the best way or that's a good way to communicate. You want to craft the best way to, I mean, to reach out. And then these things you can easily do if you understand your users and you understand your market. You understand, you put them into segments, you understand how they can be best reached and all that. So it is easy for you to set your tone. So you want to set a tone for your brand, for the product you're trying to offer. So there's a particular tone that you know certain brands can never use, and there's a particular tone that you know some brands will definitely want to use, and all that. Some brand looks playful, some brands are serious, some brands are corporate. For example, if you are dealing with people's money, you don't, as much as you want to be playful, you also want to add that touch of, seriousness to it. That kind of tone is very, very important. So that part about the branding. So the channels. So a lot of times people look at marketing as social media, or marketing as uh, email, websites, and all that. So, or advertising and all that. All these things are channels. They are channels. And so it is very important that when you're talking about marketing, you need to be able to differentiate what is strategy from what is tactics from what is channels. So when people talk about marketing, you hear them say Facebook advertisements. They just jump into, let's do advertisements, let's run advertisement. All these things are channels. If you don't have the right content, if you don't have the right strategy, they are so useless. They are more like container that carries everything that you have built up. So if you don't have the right content, yeah. So, and that's the reason why one thing about growth is that growth even is standing between product and marketing, because you want to ensure that you have the right product, and so that you can market well. You don't want to have a shitty product and start shouting online, trying to say you are marketing, because people will not. If people use it, it's just a matter of time they will drop it. So and then you don't. A lot of followers on social media does not really matter like that. What really matter is the content that you have. Of course, followers are good, and they are means to an end, but you don't want to focus on just getting followers without having the right content. So your social media, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, and all that, they are your channels. And then you see, knowing your users, knowing the kind of market you're trying to target, having proper segmentation helps you to identify the kind of social media you'll be using. There's some brands that do not use Instagram, not because Instagram is not great, but because they will just be playing there. Their people are not there. So there are some brands that do not use LinkedIn. As good as LinkedIn is, some brands don't use it. Not because it's not. Maybe if they use it, maybe they use it all because of their employees. Their employees will want to put the name of the company on their profile on that. So some companies will only open LinkedIn because just for the sake of their employees, or maybe to attract talents. But in terms of targeting customers, no. So yeah, you want to ensure that choosing social media is based on what you've understood about your users and all that. So email is also a channel. So that email marketing is that message you receive that from that brand every day, that newsletter that you receive, that kind of promotional emails and all that. A lot of time people say it doesn't work, but if you look at scale, it's still one of the best marketing channels, because if you send to 10,000, for example, and it costs little to, email marketing costs little than gives you the very great ROI if you do it the right way. Again, you must be able to understand your segmentation very well before you can do a proper email marketing. So your website also, this is also a channel. Website is also a channel. So some website can be an information website, while some website can be hosting the real products. So everything you do as a growth person, you have to be looking at these channels. Website is just one of them. So, and then there are so many things that happens. There are so many things that happen on your website that helps to put your message out there very properly. I'm seeing a message there. Okay, great. So another one is search. That's where you go to google.com and then you search for Crystal. You can try it. I mean, Pristad is on Crunchbase. I've seen it today. Is on. You will see Darius LinkedIn profile coming up. you see some of the events, and I mean, they've hosted and all that. So that search is also a channel. Search is also a channel. Everything you do on search is, I mean, search is a channel. Whether you're running an advertisement, you're trying to do SEO and all that. So all those terms like SEO, PPC, all those things, there are ways to optimize growth through your channels. So they are not, I mean, they are just terms that you use in explaining different things you do to optimize those channels. So, and then there are traditionals. Don't forget, growth is not only digital. Growth marketing is not only, I mean, it's not only digital. Since I started, you've never seen me mention, I mean, you've never heard me mention digital marketing, because digital marketing is an industry. It's not like a separate profession, it's an industry. It's just marketing online. And that has to do with so many things. So, and so growth can also be traditional. So because as a person, as a growth person on your team, you want to look at everything that contributes to your growth, whether it is traditional, whether so, and depending on the kind of users you're targeting, some of the traditional channels might also be useful for you. One of them is word of mouth. Word of mouth is even fundamental to all brands. So, and then so another example is banners, billboards, flyers, and all that. If it's applicable to the kind of users you're targeting, it's so important that you look at that also. And then you must, as a growth person, you must also identify the way you're going to measure results from all those things. It's hard to measure results through traditional means, but traditional channel is very hard, in fact, almost impossible in some cases. But you must, I mean, you must find a simple way to solve that problem for your brand, if at all you need to invest in traditional marketing. So now you can read this. Everything that goes through the channels is content. So content is the blood that runs every marketing communication strategy. It is best distributed through the concept and principle called content marketing. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions here also. A lot of times when people talk about marketing, they try to differentiate content as a channel. Content is not a channel. Content is not a separate thing in marketing. Content is like the heart of everything. Is the blood that runs. I mean, because your channel is empty. So what you put in your channel to meet your users or to meet your customer is the content. So, and this content is best distributed. There's a concept called content marketing, and content marketing has to do with, for example, if you're trying to sell drug to sick people. So instead of going to them and say, hey, come and buy my drug and all that, you go to them and tell them that, hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, this and that. Next time when you're doing this, these are the things you can do. These are the things you can do. More like education-based marketing. So you're trying to look at, you're trying to help the person. Whereas in your mind, inside your mind, you know you want to sell something, but you're selling it by educating. You're selling it by educating that person. And so at the end, maybe you can introduce your drug to the person, or maybe you can introduce what you are selling. So that makes the person you're talking to even more feel more secured and feel that you have the right help. I mean, the fact that you can talk about, for example, let's say after this talk, I say, hey, come and do my proper growth marketing training, and it costs this amount of money. And from that course, I'm going to be talking, I'm teaching you extensively on some of these concepts that I've mentioned and all that. So, I mean, for somebody that has been talking to you for some minutes now, and you've been hearing him, and then you're like, oh, this person might be good and all that. So, you most likely going to, unlike if I come to you directly and say, hey, I'm doing a training, and it's called this month, come and buy it. So that's more direct. So you see that a lot when you are doing direct selling, direct sales. But content marketing is education based. That's the reason why you see most of these brands doing blogging. So again, you have to identify what is most important for your brand. Sometimes blogging might not even be the way to do your content marketing. Content marketing is not only blogging. Content marketing is not only trying to distribute through the digital channels. Content marketing can be physical trainings, can be online trainings like this. So look at it like a pastor ministering, and at the end of the day, I mean, people feel so comfortable paying tithes. So because I mean the pastor has already talked a lot about tithing and all that. I mean they feel so educated and all that. So in this case, it can be physical training. It can be you in an event and talking at an event. It can be a speaking engagement. So you have to identify what works for the kind of users you're targeting. So don't say content marketing is blogging. Content marketing is education based selling, education based kind of marketing. So and that can happen through different means. It can happen, for example, speaking engagements. If you have been invited to speak at an event, and after your talk, and I mean, the interviewer says, "So, can you tell us a bit about what you are doing at so company?" And so, after you talked about that, a lot of people are reaching out to you to buy your stuff, to buy your stuff. That's it. So, yeah. Uh, yes. No, no, no. This no. That's not all. so So the core of growth marketing is the effort to experiment. Now, if you look at everything we've been talking about, we started from understanding what growth marketing is at the very basic level as a mindset of growth, even while you are doing marketing. Now we move to you understanding uh, three basic things. I mean, three basic parts. I mean, which is the user, which has the users, the market, and that's you have to also put things into segments, and then we move into marketing communication. You see, all those efforts of trying to do communication, trying to share stuff on online and all that kind of stuff, everything must lead up to a particular growth, a particular results, key results that you are looking at. And one core function of a growth marketing person is not just to be doing activities, because marketing is filled with a lot of activities. And if care is not taken, you can see yourself doing a whole lot of stuff, but there are no results. So that's the reason why your business objective is very core, is very important. And then you move things up from there. And then in this case, your marketing strategy is more like your growth marketing strategy. Don't forget, in this case, I mean, modern marketing has to be growth marketing, especially if you are building for a startup, if you're working with a startup, or even some of the big organizations we have today. You have to be thinking growth. You have to be thinking, how do I increase this? How do I make sure that this multiplies and all that? So yeah, that's very important. So in my home perspective, I think we shouldn't even be talking about, I mean, marketing strategy. I mean, we should be talking about growth marketing strategy, because that is what we actually need. I mean, in this kind of days, especially if you're building for a company that is just starting. It's so fun. I mean, that growth is so fundamental for every startup. As a matter of fact, startup exists because they grow fast. Any startup that is not growing fast is more like a normal traditional business. So yeah. So and in all those activities, one thing that you have to put in mind as a growth person is you have to be looking at different channels, different kind of activities you're doing. How do I make sure that how can I increase this? Putting your key results in mind. That's the objective of your company, the objective of your business, what you set as a target for yourself. I mean, in the marketing department. So you want to be experimenting different ends, and be seeing how do I increase demands, how do I increase demand, leading up to increase in revenue. And then it has to also do with measurement. So that is the reason why growth marketing is super data driven. I mean, it's so data driven. I mean, you'll be sitting down with a lot of analytics every time, trying to look at this dashboard and all that. You have so many tools that we use for that. So, um, and there are frameworks to doing some of those things, and that is what you'll be taught in your next class. One of it is your AARR framework, which has to do with uh, how does your user, I mean, move from even when he or she does not know about your brand, to becoming an advocate of your brand after buying multiple times and all that, and referring several people. So it has to do with your awareness. Your acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and all that. So all these things are very important. As a growth person, you want to be looking at that funnel. There's something we call conversion funnel. So you want to be looking at that funnel and be finding different ways to increase stuff. For example, changing the color of a button on a website could be so transformational to everything you want to do. As simple as it is, the color of a button on a particular, maybe it's your major CTA. CTA is conversion. Call to action. That is that button that you see on website that say buy now or say sign up. Those are, as a growth person, you want to know the most important CTA on your website or the most important CTA on your landing page. And then you want to look at what's the right color for this. In fact, it gets to the point of even trying to tweak fonts, trying to tweak colors and all that. So it's that crazy. So, and you want to be looking at different stuff and be looking at, experimenting different hands. It gets to a point whereby you can even be having two different landing pages for the same product. So that concept is around what we call A/B testing. So there are different kind of concepts within the growth marketing. Growth marketing that has to do with experimenting and measuring, and everything is heading up to that growth. So a growth person is not just comfortable with a lot of social media buzz that is not leading up to something that we want. You are not comfortable with just a lot of jamborees or a lot of activities, a lot of mentions on press and social media and all that. So you are more concerned about how do I transform all this to what my company or we need as a business. So yeah, so that's that. And in your next class, a lot of these things should be talked about. The customer journey, how your customer move from where they are to where you want them to be. I'm sure from there you talk about your conversion funnel, you talk about a lot of things, landing pages and all that. You talk about the metrics that matter, what you should be measuring, how you should be measuring them and all that. You talk about how to improve your performance, your marketing performance. So that's for the next class. So I would like to stop here, and if there are questions, I would like to take questions from now. Thank you. That's not all, but thank you.
You already have a lot of questions in the chat window. So I think
Great.
We can start going through them one after the other.
Okay.
Where did the question start from? I think the first one says, in a process of getting to know the user, how can one be sure the problem within that survey may be in terms of percentage?
In the process of getting to know the user,
that question. Sure. Abdulrahman, are you still online?
Abdulrahman, could you please help me with that question even more? Okay, for the TMA, for the TAM, is basically looking at your whole market, the whole of the market. Let me use an example. I'm trying to find the right example to use. Let's say we want to sell baby clothes, and maybe you want to look at the number of moms in the world. So because these are people that these are potential customers that can actually buy. Potential moms and dads. So you want to look at that. That whole market. Everything, and then look at their spend every annually. So and then you want to multiply that together. So the possible number of people that can patronize your products. Example, if you are marketing baby diapers, just calculate the whole world birth rate and number of children available per country. I think that's done. Okay, yeah. Another thing we need to also look at is, let's say, for example, we are selling a CRM tool. CRM is customer relations management tool, and an example of it is intercom. Some of us, when we go to some websites and we chat, you see that you see underneath say this chat run on intercom. Intercom is helps. I mean, it's a CRM tool, or let's say Zendex, for example. Zendex is also it's a CRM tool. So now, you want to sell that to, that's a B2B product. You're selling to a company. You are not selling to an individual. You're selling to companies a company that uses can use that product. So, but one thing you have to put in mind is that your user is not the CEO, especially in a large organization. Your CEO could be the decision maker, and but your user is that customer support person. So I mean, from a product angle, you want to build for the user, and from a marketing angle, you want to target the decision maker. So your decision maker is your customer. We can call it a customer, while your user is that customer support person. So this also we have to put in mind even when we're calculating our TAM. Yeah. So in the process of growth marketing, especially on the research stage, are you testing products with prototype etc to help with product design? I can see how growth marketing and product design can work simultaneously. That's true on identity. Okay. Yeah, sure, definitely. Um, trying to carry out user research. User research is, like I said from the beginning, it has to do with everybody on the team in a in a company, for example, that is just starting. Both the product manager, the product designer, even the business guys, the sales guys, the everybody needs to understand the user. Everybody needs to have a good understanding of the user. So yes, while trying to do your user research, especially if it's a product-based kind of offering, then you have to test that your product. You have to watch users live using that your product to see how they interact with your product and all that. And then for your empathy mapping, for example, is one of the first process. First thing you have to do when you are doing design thinking. And as a product designer, you also want to do that. Personals is so crucial for a product designer. You want to understand so it's not just you trying to jump on your Figma or your Adobe XD and start designing and start doing putting colors together. So because design is not just trying to put things in color, make things beautiful. It's about making things functional for those you want to, because design too can be functional. It's not just about clicking from here to here. So it's about even the colors has to be functional. So you want to really build things that are really targeted towards these people you are looking at. So yeah, everything, they are very intertwined. Even marketing is great. Slang and clickbait words are ways I open emails from brands, and yeah, great. So the person sending you that mail must have put you in the right segment and know the kind of. For example, if you're in Nigeria, you will observe the way Union Bank does its email marketing these days. They know they have a lot of youths in their user, customer base, and so they don't send the same email to everybody because they have old people in their email database. They don't want to send the same kind of email to all of them. And so the kind of email they send to the youth, it's so engaging. It's so engaging that you just want to finish reading. I'm not sure if it is Union Bank or UBA. Either of them, something like that. So please tell us about some of the tools used in tracking the analytics dashboard in growth marketing. Okay, even in determining tools, you still need to put the understanding of your users in view. So like I said, every single thing you'll be deciding on as a growth person is actually hanging on your understanding of your users. So it pays a lot to spend so much time, interacting with your users. And so the kind of tools that you'll be choosing also has to do with that. So for growth marketing, if you are trying to track, for example, traffic to a website, you want to look at something like Google Analytics. If you want to track, for example, what my guys are doing what customers are doing on websites, which kind of button are you clicking? After you click this button, where did you go? When you move from here, where next did you go? How many times did you spend on this page before you move to the next page? That kind of details, you can get it through a tool called Hotjar, Hotjar. So it's a very powerful tool. Another tool is called Autopilot. Um, Autopilot is just marketing automation. It just helps you with your marketing automation. And for example, some of the things that you may be struggling doing manually. For example, if a user just landed on your landing page, how do you target that person? If that person leaves immediately, how do you target that person separately without, if somebody gets to open several pages on shoes on the e-commerce store. Trying to open several pages on shoes and then finally sign up, but didn't buy anything. You don't want to be targeting that person together with somebody who just landed on your website, already know what he's trying to, what you want to buy. Just click on what you want to buy and just buy. You don't want to target them the same thing because they are already, both of them are on your email list. No, you want to target them separately. So how do you know that this is the person, this is the person? So Autopilot can help you. Autopilot can help you whenever a trigger happens on your website. For example, you can set a trigger like, let's say, for example, if anybody clicks on this button, please send that person this particular email. So the email has been prepared already. So sometimes you will observe that when you get to some websites, you just observe that as you are about to move out, there's a pop-up that comes. I say, are you going? You are not buying my market again. So I still have a lot of stuff for you. So that thing is possible because of some of the tools that they are using, like example, Autopilot. There's something called SMU Rush. This has to do with your search. It has to do with how should I put it now? It complements your Google Analytics. Google Analytics does not give you everything. Google Analytics analyze traffic, but there are so many other things that has to do with people. That has to do with traffic on your website that Google Analytics will not give you. So SEMrush can give you. All these tools are paid, except Google Analytics that is free. So Intercom tool is another example of tools that can help you measure, that can help you analyze real-time users. If 20 users are on my website right now, of course, you will know through Google Analytics also. But on Intercom, you will know them. You can also send them email straight away. Or you can even target them. Send a heads up. There's something called heads up. Heads up is when you're on your website, for example, and then maybe you've been there for, say, 3 minutes. And the next thing you just see is that a chat pop-up say, do you need any help? So it's just like if you're in the market and you are roaming about, and then one mama at the market say, hey, do you want to buy pepper? So it's just as simple as that. So that's a heads up. So Intercom can help you, even Autopilot can help you. There's so many tools. There's so many tools. For social media, for example, there's Hootsuite, there is Sprout Social. Maybe what I would do, so maybe what I would do is to create some of these tools and maybe send to Dari maybe tomorrow, and he can share with you. So Sprout Social is an example of social media analytics tool that you can use to measure the social media analytics. This is specialized on social media analytics. You can also use Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE, and that one is very popular. Together with Buffer, all these tools are very popular. You can see them online, and I mean sign up. Some of them you can use. You can do free trial. So and you can do free trial to just to learn how they work, and maybe you remove your card later. So wonderful. This means growth marketing is definitely related to UI UX. Definitely, definitely, definitely. As a growth marketing person, you have to be a UX person. I mean, you have to be a UX person. Yes, it's very, very important. While doing user research, how do you determine the right questions to ask potential users so you don't end up solving symptoms instead of problem? Focus on the problem. Focus on the don't imagine the kind of don't try to dwell on your own on the solutions you are trying to bring up, because honestly at that point you really do not have like the right solution, because you're still speaking with users, you're still interacting with them. Of course you can have something in mind. You can say I want to build a technology for farmers to be able to reach their wholesalers. I mean that's straightforward, but you want to speak with the farmers and wholesalers to really understand the main problems they are having, so that you know how best to even build that solution. So while talking with these farmers, you really want to dwell on their activities. I mean, some of the pain points they have. So the way to do that is that you use the answers the answers they give to you to answer to you use the answers they give to you to dive in further. It's just like you are speaking with your friend, and then you really want to understand the core problem that friend is uh, having. Most likely, you don't have a preset questions. You just interact with the person, flow with the person just normally, and then from the answers you're getting, you are diving deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Before you know, you're already unveiling stuff. However, there are some standard questions you're supposed to be asking users. For example, you want to know what are the kind of how are they managing the problem. So if I tell you that I find it difficult to, I mean, I've not been able to, or I find it difficult to buy to buy uh to buy honey in Lagos, Nigeria every time, and you want to know how I'm currently managing that, especially if it's a kind of product that I need to survive. So you want to know how I do that. So, for example, I mentioned that I work with a freight forwarding company, a company that helps you ship around the world. So, shipping is a lot of problem for a lot of people. So, and technology platforms are arising to simplify this process. For example, you don't want to be dealing with guys at Apapa in Nigeria. You don't want to be dealing with. It takes a lot of time before your goods can move, and even the cost of moving things within Africa is even more expensive than moving things outside Africa. Those kind of problems. And then you'll be talking with multiple people. There's one that will help you talk to your supplier. There's one that you can be talking to 10 different people at the same time, just because you want to ship a particular container into Nigeria. That's a lot of stuff. It's a full-time job already. So that's a pain. That's a pain. So when you're talking to such kind of people, you want to know, okay, how are you managing this? Some of them work with traditional freight forwarders that still go through the same process, but maybe this time the number of people they talk to is reduced and all that. But tracking is even more difficult and all that. So you want to look at how they're managing it. You want to understand if you want to understand if they can endure not having a solution for it. So because not all problems are problems you should just jump on immediately. There are some problems that's the reason why your market sizing is very, very important. There are some problems that they are not so relevant in solving. So there are some problems that they are so small, or there are some problems that there is no pain point, though they seem like problems, but whether there is a solution or there is no solution, people don't care. So maybe they are nice to have. So these are some of the other details around user research. So there's some problems that are, I mean, there's some solutions that are nice to have. There's some solutions that are good to have. There's some solutions that are must to have. So if you're trying to do your research, you need to be able to know where these fall into. So I mean, in real life, not all the time you have a preset question to ask your users. You just want to flow naturally with them. But I can actually send some frameworks, I mean, some particular set of questions that you may want to ask users generally. But for me, when I'm doing user research, I I don't really have like set questions. I just want to know this person. That's it. So and then though there are some fundamental questions depending on the kind of product that I'm trying to work on. There's some fundamental questions that I can actually have in mind to ask the person. So yeah, that's that. So guys, please note. Okay, some social media also have other their own analytics. Face have okay, Facebook have insights. Yes. So all social platforms actually, I mean, have their own analytics. But one thing as a growth marketing person, I mean, one thing that you will find so much difficult is dealing with so many tools. I mean, you don't want to do it because you'll be dealing with so many tools. As you'll be you one thing that you want to do is to look for a single tool that helps you that you can just wake up every morning and look at and you are seeing everything, not having to open this, open this, open this, open this, open this. So you don't want to open Twitter, open Instagram, Facebook, and looking at analytics across all of this. And most of these, I mean, you want to open a single place and then you see. And then one thing is that so Facebook, when you get to Facebook, Facebook give you insight based on what's your activity on your Facebook page or whatever. So Instagram too gives you that kind of data. But when you are using some of these tools that I've mentioned, you can set goals. You can set your social media goals, and then it helps you even measure those goals. So it's just where you can manage everything relating to your social media, including your analytics. So it simplifies your work. It helps you see everything. There is nothing that is on those social media platforms analytics that you cannot find on this platform. So you can just open. I mean, I use Hootsuite a lot. So I mean, just from Hootsuite alone, I see everything across all my social media. I don't have to open different kind of yeah. So any any other questions? Or is there any part you want me to dwell more? I'm not seeing any other question.
If there's no other question, it means the people are full then.
Yeah.
The
I'm not
knowledge,
sure.
the knowledge has filled your mind, you know. I saw so there's a platform where the guys in the internship group are interacting and someone is already saying there that those who are not joining the class are missing out a lot about that. So I
Okay.
imagine that those who missed out to be rushing back to look to watch the recording on YouTube now. It's just a pain that they don't have you to ask those questions when those ones come back. We'll
Okay.
send them to look for you on LinkedIn.
Okay. So there's another question here. Okay, on SAM. So let me use this simple word. I mean, the TAM, SAM, and the SOM. I mean, they can be very confusing. Even when I also wanted to learn them, I got so confused at some point. So the way you look at it is that that TAM is the whole of your market, and inside that whole of your market, there is a particular parts that, I mean, you cannot target all of them. You cannot, not all of them are even addressable. Um, Not all of them are even addressable I mean, in relation to what you are trying to build, in relation with what you are trying to build, and in relation to maybe what you're trying to build, the possibilities within your own capacities. So addressable means that my products can target this this particular market, this particular size. However, the SOM, which has to do with the obtainable markets, the obtainable market, that is the one that I can actually easily reach or easily get to engage immediately. Because a market is addressable does not necessarily mean that it is obtainable for me. It doesn't mean that I can acquire all of it. Uh, and then how do you know this? You know this by trying understanding the kind of capacity you have or the kind of product you're trying to build. If your product is not targeting the whole world, for example, or it's not targeting of, say you are building a freelance service platform, but you are not trying to target all kind of freelance services. You're trying to target micro tasks for, trying to target micro tasks and targeting busy professionals. So maybe busy professionals in this case, the busy professionals are you are not looking at the whole busy professionals in the world. But I mean, when you are thinking of TAM, you can think of all the busy professionals in the world. Think of the overall freelance industry. So, but when you're thinking of the addressable market, you want to think of, okay, since I'm not looking at, I'm only looking at micro tasks. I mean, micro tasks, say for example, help me manage my calendar, or help me manage my social media accounts. So maybe my personal social media accounts. I want somebody who can always help me manage it, that I'll just send content and then he handles everything. So that's more like a micro tax in some cases for some busy professionals. So, but then micro tax is what you are dealing with. But in this case, you are also not trying to target all kinds of busy people. Maybe the kind of busy people you are trying to target is corporate guys, because a farmer could be busy person. A farmer could be busy person, but might not use your platform to solve his problem because he doesn't even know how to use digital platform. So you want to target those who can use digital platform. That's addressable. So that is the kind of people that you can actually address. Now, maybe you now want to narrow it down and say, okay, I would like to target the busy guys that can use digital platform or that are already using mobile devices within this particular location. So that is, from my own, from what I can build, from what I'm working on, you look at it and say the possibilities around what I'm building can only target these people, or the kind of value I'm trying to give out can only, is most useful for this kind of people. So in this particular location. So that is your exact target market. I don't know if Bolu Watife gets it. You spoke about differentiating tactics from strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy
So
from
if I want to chip in something there around the term, the
okay.
SAM and SOM, is that like Elijah said, sometimes it can be a little confusing because your term can be based on geographic region, can be based on demography. Yeah. So it just means that, so let's say you are in Nigeria today and you say you want to start making Zobo. Yeah. So if you want to start making Zobo, your term is not the population of people who drink Zobo today, it's the population of people who drink anything at all today. So people who drink water, people who are likely to convert to drinking Zobo, that's your term. So they drink water, they drink Coke, they drink everything. That is your term. But the serviceable, addressable markets are people that are already drinking Zobo today. Yeah. Then your some are the ones that you are likely to be able to capture. So maybe because you are based in Ogun State, even though there are 2 million people drinking Zobo in Nigeria, but you're only based in Ogun State today, and you are not looking to expand your operations outside Ogun State in the next 2 years, that means your sum, your obtainable market will be based on the population of people who are likely going to buy from you in Ogun State, based on your own growth plans and your decision and all that. So the real people that you are going after when you are starting the business is your own, that's the sum, which is the obtainable market. That's the one you can obtain today. Then after you've obtained, when you filled up the obtainable market, you can now start thinking, how can I expand and start getting more people from the SAM or something, or can I even decide to expand beyond that? A good example is Coca-Cola. I think I never confirmed this story, so I don't know how true is it. That so Coca-Cola wanted to get more people drinking Coke than water, and they realized that it's not working. They can't get more people to drink Coke than the number of people drinking water. So when they could not do that, the next thing they had to do is to start selling water themselves. Yeah. So that way they now even expanded beyond their SAM now, and they've expanded into the total addressable market, which is everybody drinking anything. If that still does not help you, you have to go and read about it, because I mean there are some nuances around it. So you get some more insight. So just Google it. You get more and more, and then you get a bit more examples here and there and all that. So you're like, okay. So like I said, the confusing thing at times is some people can base their term based on demography, some can base it based on geography, some can mix both of them together. And the truth is that you don't just sit down and calculate your term behind your desk. You need to pretty much look for some data that you can refer to, because how would you know everybody drinking coffee in Nigeria today? Although they ask those questions when you go for like a consultancy interview, they say how many cups of coffee has been drunk in the country today. And if any of you encounter such questions, this is a quick digression. If any of you encounter such questions, nobody is looking for an accurate answer. They're only looking for how you think. When you get questions like that, they are looking at how you think. So you have to start by saying, what's the population of Nigeria? What are the people in this age group? What are the people? So you just, how you deduce information to the point and all that. So just do a bit more read up about it. Maybe when you understand it, Bolu Atife, you might, during the meeting tomorrow, you might decide to do a short presentation to teach us what you've learned from it.
Okay, right, great. That's even more uh, understandable. So someone asks about tactic strategy from channels and all that. Okay, yeah. So I was trying to explain that a lot of people confuse a lot of people confuse strategy tactics. I mean, with channels.
Mm.
So when you're trying to um, when you're trying to do marketing, most times when people hear marketing, the next thing they want to jump on is social media. They just want to start going online and be telling people about what they do and all that without the right strategy. Anybody can use Facebook.
Mm.
Anybody can use Twitter. I mean, there's nothing on Twitter that I cannot sit down people. I mean, in 2 hours and then everything. So and the same thing most of these social media. I mean, all of us we use this social media. So at least the basic part of them we know how to use them. But when you're trying to do marketing, you need to first set strategy. Strategy is how you want to do things. So and that is different from channel is where you distribute from. I mean the medium through which you distribute or you distribute your content that is based on your strategy. So, I mean, if you want to look at tactics in this case, I mean, maybe strategy is a set of goals, and tactics is more like you're trying to look at what's the best possible way to reach this strategy. So, I mean, you should be able to know what is and what it is not. So, you should be able to know what is the channel and what is the strategy. You don't say Facebook is marketing or Twitter is marketing. You should be able to know that Twitter and Facebook, they are just channels. And the marketing itself still holds its principles. However, these channels they have ways of using them. I mean, the owners, I mean, they set some certain rules and I mean certain standard of how to use them. But at the core of using them rightly is having the right marketing strategy. Somebody asks about how to build a growth marketing career using a means of certification. How can you relate to undergraduates? Okay, I get that. So for me, I mean, the best way to actually learn most of these things is to do them actually. I mean, that's the fastest way to master them. There's not much of stuff you will read online if you don't do these things. I mean, you will just everything will still because you will still have to be going back to Google for almost everything because uh, doing is actually the best way to master. And how do you do that? Even if you don't have an opportunity to, I mean, for example, maybe a job to do that. If you have some money, you can set up a blog. If you manage a blog, if you're managing a blog, I mean, what it takes to manage a blog and I mean, grow it, increase your reader base and all that. I mean, all the things that actually um, entails in doing that as are part of what I mean growth marketers do. So if you can run a blog, for example, maybe set up a blog on something you are most interested in, and then you write content consistently that is I mean, all this identifying your users, doing a market study, doing a personnel, empathy, everything you can also do even while running a blog, because your readers are your users. So you want to do a proper profiling of them. You want to know what time they read, they come online. You want to know, I mean, different stuff. You will see your blog as a product, and then you can actually build up from there. So your products, you will also even consider, I mean, conversion funnel in the because I mean you might actually have, for example, your conversion on your blog could be people subscribing to your newsletters. So that could mean a conversion. If you can go through this process and then you can actually grow the readership of that blog to a very, I mean, impressive state. I mean, you are a growth marketer already. uh, you can only do courses online to increase your knowledge or to I mean to expand your knowledge base. But what actually really matter most is you applying these things on real life stuff and doing them. Until you start doing them, no matter how no matter how I mean the how big your knowledge base is on these things, you don't know it yet. And another thing you need to put in mind while you are probably maybe looking for a job in growth marketing is a lot of time growth could mean different things for different startups or for different companies. So you want to identify what growth means to for different people, especially if you're going for interview. You want to know that okay, this is what growth could mean for this particular company, and this is how we can target and all that kind of stuff. So yes, if you don't start doing it, you don't know it. If you have not done it before, you don't know it. So certification, it's not there's no formal study for growth market. Even the marketing that I mean that is mostly run in universities, I mean they are not this kind of marketing that we're talking about. I don't know all the schools, but I mean the ones that I'm familiar with here in Nigeria and some of the schools that we've seen online, they are mostly dwelling on the fundamental principles of marketing generally. Even in MBA schools, it's very rare you see MBA schools dealing with I mean, all these kind of principles in growth marketing. You most likely see them dealing with the general principles, which you can actually apply to every part of marketing. So they're also very essential. Don't forget, growth marketing is still marketing, but with growth in mind. So all those principles still apply. So in terms of what you learn in school, I mean, those principles you can, I mean, master them and all that. When you get into doing growth, you have to be a bit flexible and understand and work based on what you learn about your users and not so rigid about one principle and all that. So there are times that, especially there's something called growth hacking. Growth hacking, they are I mean, it's a disorganized kind of profession. They are not people that are so organized. I mean, they come in and say, I mean, can we shut down this website and rebuild another one and see what will happen? I mean, they are just trying to test different waters and see where we can see the biggest fish and all that. So growth hacking has to do with disruption. So most times these people do not really follow some set of principles. They are just working based on what they understand about their users and even their intuition, and just push forward. And most times things work. So yeah. All right. Yeah, you can connect with me on social media. So I mean, so yeah, on LinkedIn, I'm much more active on Twitter and LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, it's just type my name, Elijah Shokenu. On Twitter is I'm typing that. Then on yeah, and that's it. So my email also is. And so yeah, I didn't talk about what we do at Student Build. So basically, I mean that's the company I currently work with, and I work with a small team. They are very amazing people. So what we do basically is we are trying to make um, school to work transition very super easy for undergraduates in Africa. So I mean that's kind of problem. I mean, how do you move from school to work? How do you move from undergraduate to the industry? So and then get relevant, be relevant immediately. So that process we are making it super easy for undergraduates, and we're not waiting for people to graduate. So we are taking this initiative to campuses. So it's a skill development platform basically, but this time around it is work based. So what that means is that it's not just uh, just instructor based alone, uh, but a place where you can also practice some of the things you are learning directly, working directly with a team on real life projects, and even job shadowing an expert, working with real startups and all that. So before you graduate from school, you are already so familiar with the industry you are going into. So, and then graduating moving from school to work will be, that transition will be very easy for you. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do. And um, of course, we've been doing, we've had some tractions in the last few months. And basically, what we've been doing is we've hosted a lot of mentorship sessions and guest sessions where students are interacted with real professionals in the industry. And then even through our events platform, so we hosted an event that students had the opportunity to interact with real professionals and all that. But right now, we are also we are taking it further by giving students a real platform where they can learn actual skills and practice these skills in real life as if they are working with real company. And by the time they are graduating from school, they are already so much familiar with what they will go to meet in the industry. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, that's about that. Any question, any other thing?
I guess if anyone wants to know a bit more about Student Build, maybe they have friends, siblings that are still in university, or some of them might still be in uni and they want to know about Student Build, should they just send you an email or something?
Yes, they can
Just
send us email or you connect with us on social media for anything that we're trying to, anything that we push out, you're definitely going to see on our social media. So, but then you can connect with me on my email. You can send me email, or you can send me messages on LinkedIn or Twitter. So on Twitter, we are Student Build, and also on LinkedIn. So that's it on Twitter. Then the same thing, just type Student Build on LinkedIn. On Instagram, we are Student Build underscore. We are Student underscore Build.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Elijah. We really appreciate this session. I myself have learned as well too in what you've talked about today. So, guys, you know where you can find this on YouTube. You can go back and replay it, and Elijah can say if he shares the slides with us, we'll have it on the Google Classroom as well, so you can go back there and uh, learn and relearn, and you guys can discuss some of the things you guys research. Like Bolu Atife that still wants to research on Tam, Sam, and Sam. Whatever she learned, she can also talk about it on the group as well, so for others to learn from her. So thank you very much. The next session will be next week, Tuesday, where we'll be looking at research analysis. So for those who signed up for that, who are interested in that, they're happy to, it's fine to get you in. And for some of you who are probably wondering that, oh, I have friends who didn't register for this and they would like to join the class, we are happy you can get them access to join the what's it called, to join this sessions as well too. So we just want to make sure that help as many people as possible to learn as much as possible. So learn more,
Right.
continue learning, and continue working with what you've learned. So thank you very much, Elijah. God bless you.
Welcome.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. That's all. Have a beautiful evening, everyone.
Yeah.